Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we're taking a look at the SOTA Land of the Dead Big Daddy figure. And this is rounding out the SOTA Toys Land of the Dead line. And Big Daddy here is the most iconic zombie from the film, the lead zombie from the film. So he's an obvious fit for this wave of action figures just because he is so prominent in the film. And not only does this figure round out the line itself for us here, but it also gives us the last piece to our Build-A-Corpse figure. So we'll be taking a look at him as well. For accessories, Big Daddy comes with a jackhammer that we see him use throughout the film. It's a really nice paint job on here. It's a kind of construction red with some dirt and wear effects going on here to make it look like it's all used and beaten up. It's really good attention to detail here. We got the extra handle down here, so you got one at the top and one lower down. And then the actual pick mechanism is a nice silver and looks pretty good. It's actually a bit sharp. Big Daddy also comes with his machine gun after he trades up from the jackhammer. This is alright. It has my big pet peeve of a lot of action figure weapons in that it's just a solid black color. But there is some good sculpted detail on here. I guess that's not exactly true. There is a bit of silver there on the trigger, but most of the rest of it is just a straight out flat black. For our Build-A-Corpse, Big Daddy comes with a severed arm. So a lot of good detail here. The hand's all bloodied up. We even have a wedding ring on the hand there. Very bloody sleeve, and then the torn off chunks there at the arm itself. And then we get the severed head. We got the one eyelid and the whole side of the face torn away in kind of a two-face look. So we get kind of what he was like when he was normal, and now what he is now that he's all torn to shreds. Back of his head's all splatted open. His vertebrae are hanging out the bottom. Similar to what that one pant leg was like with the butcher. His hair is kind of creating a base here, so it's kind of flat on the bottom as his hair just kind of plops out to the sides, and his brain matter also does the same here. Unlike our traditional Build-A-Figure like you get with Marvel or DC, there's really not a whole lot we can do to assemble this piece to keep it all together. We do have the one hole here in the torso. We have the arm with the bone sticking out, so we can kind of plug those two together to reconnect them a bit. The head, however, doesn't fit back on, so that's just going to have to lay next to the piece itself. Same with the other severed arm. It's just something we could rest there. Then going back to the legs, we once again have a bone that will insert into the torn up bit. Just kind of align it so the pant leg that's flayed open sits on the ground. So we can kind of put that in place there. And then we have the extra bits of guts we could add in here to try to make it look like he's been totally ripped apart. So it doesn't really make an action figure. It doesn't make another zombie that I thought it might when I first got these. But it just makes something for them all to feast on, and that's kind of cool. Similar to the other two figures in the line, I think the sculpting on Big Daddy is really, really cool. They did a great job on his head. He's got some very dead eyes there. We have his goatee, his very yellow teeth. I love they sculpted him with his mouth open. You can see his dark, nasty tongue in there. All the appropriate wrinkles all over his head, making him look very decayed. Got some wounds up there on the top of his head. Just a very, very well done head sculpt. And just like the other figures in this wave, once you go below the head sculpt, you have a neck that doesn't nearly contain as much sculpted detail. The paint tone matches, but just overall doesn't look like it belongs to the same figure as this highly detailed head. For the body, we have his jumpsuit. So we have the brown collar up here at the top, coming down a bit. We can see his undershirt there. Got his pockets here in the front. His Big Daddy patch done in a white and red that really stands out here. A lot of great dirt effects on the front of the coveralls. His sleeves are nice and wrinkly as well. They blend in a lot better with the shoulders than the butcher did, which I'm happy about. Going on to the back, continuing on that detail, we got the kind of weird seams that coveralls have. We go down to the waist, more wrinkly detail, and then his feet are super dirty, covered in mud and dirt, and that goes up onto his pant legs as well, which I really like. That's the kind of detail I really appreciate in action figures like these. For his left hand, he has a big open grasping hand, which looks pretty nice. For his right hand, he has a gripping hand, which does have the trigger finger extended, but there's an alternate hand we could pop on that features a much more exaggerated trigger finger that I think is actually supposed to be for the gun. It's kind of strange that both hands have a similar pose, but not exactly the same, and popping these hand joints out of the socket and popping the new one on is really, really freaking hard. For articulation, it's very similar to the other figures in this wave. He has a hinge joint at the neck, so he'll look very far up, as well as pretty far down. Swivel his head side to side, no real tilt or anything in there. Pin socket arms, so they'll go forward and back, as well as out to the side. Nothing else in the arms, we get a swivel at the wrist, and then nothing through the rest of the body. Even the feet are just one part of the big overall sculpt. And here we have a better look at Big Daddy leading his zombie horde, with the butcher on the left and Tom Savini's machete on the right. I think this is a very solid little wave of figures. Given the popularity of Land of the Dead Dead and the kind of lack of other and really recognizable zombies in the film. Not surprised there was never a wave 2. I don't think SOTA probably ever planned to do a wave 2 to the Land of the Dead figures, but given the quality these had, despite the lack of articulation, I probably wouldn't have minded too much if they hit some of the other Romero Dead properties back when they were making action figures. And I really think SOTA did a great job with Big Daddy, or at least as good of a job as they did with any of their other figures from this line. I'm gonna give him a pretty strong recommend. I think if I had to rank the 3 figures out of the series, the Machete Zombie would be number 1 just because it is Tom Savini, and I feel like it's kind of a must-have for a horror movie fanatic. Big Daddy would definitely be number 2, and the Butcher would be number 3, but still a pretty nice figure. And even if you're not a big Land of the Dead fan, they're great for just creating a zombie horde. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been our Outside the Box Reviews. And when there's no more room in hell, the dead will review figures on Earth.